When's the last time you worried about making your monthly payments, like rent, mortgage?
Oh, 2007. Very.
Oh, you got a date.
Oh,
Very
I have a
specific.
date. In 1998, I was laid off from America Online, and we were literally going to close on a house the next day. Right.
Whoa.
Yeah, no, that was a whole thing. And I, of course, immediately went into Great Depression, and Chrissy was the one who pulled me out. She's like, well, I still want a house. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to get a house. Screw everybody who is in our way. And that's, when I started doing all the freelance stuff, and I started, making sure that, I hit the monthly nut. And from like 1998 to 2007, we were cruising along. We moved to Ohio. I still got work. I started writing books and stuff like that. But in 2007, like several of my long-term freelance contracts had gone away. They were just, disappearing. And so I basically looked at Chrissy. I was like, okay, we are going to have to resize, and we have to really rethink, because I don't know if the amount that I'm going to bring in for the next few months at least, or possibly even a year, depending, is going to be enough for what we have been doing. And so, yeah, we actually, Chrissy and I sat down and we went through all of our expenses, and we're like, okay, we don't need this, and we don't need this, and we don't need this. And we trimmed back. And it turned out that fairly quickly after that, things did an upturn. So within a year, we were back to where we were before. And then since then, I haven't really thought about it too much. But 2007, we were very much of, oh yeah, no, we could be in big trouble here.
How important do you think it was for you to have a partner to devise that plan with, or strategize with at the time?
Oh, I think it was extremely important. And it was extremely important that that particular partner was the one that I have now, Chrissy, because Chrissy and I have what I think are, like, in terms of life and career, sort of complementary skill sets. I'm a writer, and I'm kind of flaky, and I'm kind of ADHD, and I have big plans, and, all of this sort of stuff. And, and I think real good sort of long term, but the day-to-day details of things elude me. Like, Chrissy moved in with me in the, like 1994, right? And she was looking at my bills, and she's like, you have a bunch of stuff that is like on third notice, but I know that you have the money. What's going on? And I'm like, well, I would have to buy stamps, right, to mail these off. And she was like,
deeply identify.
Yeah. And she's like, and you can't buy stamps? I'm like, well, I don't think about it. She's like, you literally work next to the post office, which was true. I could literally just walk out of my building and buy stamps. And I'm like, yeah, and she's like, give me these. I will take care of them. And that was the thing that actually has worked out for all of us. I mean, she wants her life to have some structure and order. She doesn't resent taking care of the bills, because then she knows that they're actually gotten paid when they were supposed to get paid. And that's the sort of brain that she has. She admits, she's like, I have no creativity. That is not what I do. But what I do is make sure that this railroad runs. And having a partner who has those sort of complementary skill sets has turned out to be really great, especially when I was like, yeah, I don't know that we're going to have this money. For her, it wasn't like a panic. It was, all right, this is a problem to solve. Here's where we're spending money. Let's go through and sort of ruthlessly cut it out. And she is the reason, and I tell this to people all the time, and I will say it again here, she is the reason that I have had the career and success I've had, because so much of the stuff that I'm required to do is been offloaded to her. And it continues. We now have a family company, Scalzi Enterprises, and she actually retired from her previous job to be CEO of the company. Because again, when the contracts are done, here are all the deliverables, here are who owes this money and when, and she will walk to your office and stand on your shoes until you give her what is due in a contract.
This has turned out to be, I was going to say, like, we joke about it being a low-key divorce pod, but I think it's actually maybe a marriage pod. Like, in the sense that whenever we talk to someone who is happily partnered,
yeah,
it turns out to be a big piece of their stabilizing force, not
Yep.
just because two people live, better than one, right? Like splitting
Right.
expenses is a real thing.
Yeah.
Having a roommate, but because of that emotional ballast.
Yeah.
And I have to remind myself that's kind of just how society works. And it's a little bit unfortunate. It's not how to, wait, actually, that's how American capitalist society
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
And in part, it's a
Absolutely.
legacy of patriarchy
Yep.
that it's hard to survive as a single person because it's supposed to be hard to survive as a single woman, especially.
Yes.
But much what I'm trying to remember as I hear you talk is all right, it's like the Genius Grant.
Yeah.
Scalzi has a really good partner. Maybe there's a really good partner out there for me.
It can happen. Manifest it. It will happen. Yeah, no, I do have a really good partner. And I think, there are some important things to be said there. I mean, one is the conscious recognition, honestly, every day that I have a good partner and that I need to equally be a good partner to her. And sometimes it's like really simple things like she's like, there is a dead mouse in the garage. Go take care of it. Because I'm the guy who handles the dead mice. I handle the dead mice. I handle the cat vomit. I handle the cat boxes. I take care of spiders. And these sound like really tiny things, but, she asks them to be done and I stop what I'm doing and I do them immediately.
Division of labor is very
The
important.
division of labor. It is absolutely a thing. And there's the thing that I also recognize quite honestly, that there is so much that I get out of her being my partner and her having the skills that she has and what that allows me not to have to worry about, that I do also make sure I check in regularly. Like I'm not, you're not feeling like you are doing so much work and I'm doing nothing and everything else like that. Right. And so we do that check in with each other to make sure that we are functioning as a business entity, both in the personal aspects of it and then in the professional aspects of it. And just having that communication is important. And I think that's important regardless of who you're working with. If you have a business partner or if you have a friend or any of that sort of stuff, that you do that sort of check-in, be like, I assume everything's going well, but I want to make sure. And that makes things a lot easier.
But I also feel like I want to say, sorry, Mike, but that I want to say that that it's not as though like those of us whose calling is more less stable in
Yeah.
career terms are looking for partners who are patrons or business managers because that's what we need. Also, they need us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
they need the people who can bring big dreams
Yeah.
and, probably a little more. I'm trying to think of nice ways to put it. like a good kind of chaos to a relationship.
Yep.
The things that you bring to relationship, it's not like you're just like relying her on your business manager, like, or just to pick up, the cat vomit. Like,
Right.
I guess because for me, sometimes I have entered into relationships with more stable folks being like, all right, well, this is the person that does the stuff that's hard. And I just get to have my easy, fun stuff.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's not.
No,
like,
no. And that's the whole thing is that I do hard stuff, right?
Yeah.
You
You write
my
novels,
job,
which, by the way, I counts as hard.
what's that?
You write novels, and that counts
Yes.
as hard.
So yeah, no, that's the thing is like creativity is hard. Being commercially accessible in what I do is hard. Thinking about stuff long term, like in terms of investments, in terms of finances, in terms of where we're going to be 5, 10, 15 years down the road, which is a skill that I have, is hard. So it is not like she handles all the business and then I don't do anything. What happens is there are some things that she's not good at, and then those are the things that I take care of. But the other thing is that also, I asked her at one point, I'm like, you and I are in a relationship. I know what I get out of it. What do you get out of it? And she was like, you make me laugh, which is huge, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate, I do all the little things that she asked me to. But she also said something that I thought was really important. She says, when she met me, She felt like I was a person who would take her for who she was and not try to change her. By which she means,
Mm.
like, I would not be like, now you are married to me. Now you are my helpmeet. Now you have to do this and this and this and this and this. Instead, I would appreciate what she brings into it and adapt myself as well as expecting her to adapt with me. So that is a partnership of equals rather than one person being the lead and the other person, taking up the slack in the back. And obviously in public, I am a much more public person. So it can definitely feel like I am the front facing partner. But anybody who spends any time with us and sees us as a partnership understands that we are very equal.
It makes me reflect on my past partnership. My ex-wife was a lot more of a practical person, and I was the, mildly chaotic dreamer, as Anna put it. But I feel like the way that we were operating is that, well, she of course she had a separate career, and I was doing all my creative stuff, and I was, what she was really good at with the pragmatism was the money that I brought into our partnership. She would do those, she would, dot the I's and cross the T's and make sure that everything was taken care of in ways that
Yes.
wasn't natural to me. But it sounds like what the partnership that you have is more blended. And I'm really curious about, like, you said that, she'll chase down invoices and that sort of thing. But I'm very curious how her skill set blends into your creative partnership. If there's more ways you can spell that out, because I just think that's a really interesting thought.
Yeah, no, and I think it does two things. I mean, when we are talking about someone who is taking care of a lot of the back end, which means that I don't have to take brain cycles for that, right? And the thing is, if I had to, I could do all the things that she does, but it would take up a huge chunk of my time. And that is time that cuts into creative time, right? It happens already. It's like I literally spend half of my day handling like business stuff relating to contracts and film and TV stuff and stuff relating to, my publisher and my editors and everything else like that. That stuff has to be dealt with. It's not stuff I can offload to anybody else. So that takes up 2 or 3 hours a day. And then doing all the rest of the stuff would be 3, more hours on top of that. But the other thing is also beyond the day to day of, good, you handle this and then you'll take care of this, is that I have a sounding board of someone who I'm like, here's an idea I have for a novel. Tell me what you think about it. And, kind of having that sounding board, I will give her the chapters as they come out and she will read it. And if she's bored with that chapter, because my wife loves me too much to bullshit me about these things. Like she will be like, no, this is not working. And I will go back to the board with that. So she's an ideal reader because she is reading purely for pleasure. She is not reading to sit there and be like, how can I break this down for craft so I can implement it in my own creative endeavor? She's just like, no, amuse me. And if it's working, it's great. And if it doesn't, then that's another thing. And the other thing is that we also look about things. We have this company right now, like I said, Scalzi Enterprises, which has the purpose of merchandising and licensing stuff that we've already done and developing new projects that are not part of my, contracts with Tor and Audible. And so talking to her about, does this seem like something that I should be devoting time to creatively and as a business and working with other people? Or does this idea sound better? What are the things that you think are going to be the ones that are going to work for us in a long term? Because I think you need that sounding board. Every creative person can get lost in their own sort of head. And also, quite frankly, because her job is to do the business end of things, if I come and say, hey, I want to do a book of freeform poetry, about the Boer Wars, she'll be like, maybe we don't do that right now and put some other things on the plate. And if you want to do that, we can schedule that. But first, let's do the stuff that is going to bring the money in, because this is a business as well as a creative endeavor. And having someone who kind of is dispassionate about it is really useful. Like I said, she loves me too much to, to give me any sort of like, rah, rah, rah talk. She loves me. She encourages me. She thinks I'm pretty great. And she also knows when I have my head up my ass, and she is more than willing to tell me. When she thinks I think too well of myself, she will literally reach over and pull on my earlobe and go, shh, to let the air out of my head. And it's super useful to have somebody who loves you enough to be like, okay, you're a little full of yourself. Let's rein it in.